pinakain ko ba kayo ngayon, babalik kayo? Hindi. Pag pinakain ko kayo ngayon, babalik kayo, pero matutulog din kayo. Actually, ako nagmamadali because tomorrow my flight to Singapore is 10 o'clock. And yung utol ko, where I'm staying right now, luto ng adobo. I mean, kailan ulit ako makakatikim ng adobo? Right? Nalutong bahay, makakatikim naman pa natin yan sa Jologs. If you guys, kung sino sa inyo nakapag-visit ng Singapore, there's a restaurant in Lucky Plaza called Jologs. It's serve Filipino food. Minsan pag na-homesick ka, doon ka pupunta para kumain. Tsaka magpakataas ng cholesterol. Okay, so this will be quick, konting slides lang. I just want to share with you kung ano yung ginagawa ko sa Singapore. I'm doing deployment in the Singapore subsidiary. I used to do the same thing sa region. Nung bandang around August to October, labas-masok ako ng Philippines because part of my job is going to Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore. Well, nandun ako naka-base, Thailand at saka Philippines. So right now, naka-base na lang ako sa Singapore. And every time napapauwi ako, I always coordinate with the folks who are doing the events, that tingin namang event kasi not only kasi pag MVP ka, you're expected to deliver, you're expected to contribute to the community. But not only that, kasi when I deliver events sa Singapore, that's the event in Singapore. Pero pag nagde-deliver ako ng event ng sarili kong lengguwahe, mas mabilis, mas huli ko yung bilis kasi hindi ko na kailangan i-translate yung utak ko di ba? Kung ano yung nasa utak ko lumalabas agad. Ayun yung, minsan nababanggit ko rin sa mga tao sa Singapore that mas mabagal ako magsalita kapag nag-deliver ako dito kasi tina-translate mo pa. Ngayon, wala akong problem sa ganon. Okay, I'm Jay Paloma, Microsoft Most Valuable Professional, in enterprise security, pero I actually focus on whatever it is on hand. In Microsoft Singapore right now, I do deployment. So ito yung fino-focus ko ngayon. Now the thing is this, with regards to deployment, meron ba tunog? Walang tunog yung mic, Meron. Walang tunog to, Okay, with regards to deployment, one of the things that napansin ko is that Microsoft has a lot of free tools available for us to assist us on deployment. First up, what's deployment? Simply put, deployment is yung install nyo kung ano yung binili na produkto. Ganun kasimple, install yung binili produkto. Siyempre, Jay, install namin yung binili produkto. Then what? If you are a volume licensed customer, more often than not, you buy, then install later. Then you find out that, hey, the thing that we bought, hindi natin ma-install because of blah, blah, blah. Si Office 2007, hindi natin ma-install because ang dami pala nating files na nung in-install natin sa 10, ang daming reklamo, so you have to stop. And you have to find out what are the tools available out there para malaman natin kung ano yung extent ng problema natin. So Windows Vista, pwedeng bumili ng volume license sa Windows Vista yung company, then hindi ma-install. Why? Biglang yung hardware hindi pala kaya, or yung basta yung applications hindi pala tumatakbo. Okay? So, the good news for us is that Microsoft has a lot of these free tools. Okay, free. Pag hindi free yung papakita ko sa inyo, sasabihin ko sa inyo. Microsoft has a lot of these free tools and sad to say, they are the least marketed tools. Pero nung pinaglalaroan ko sila, parang wow, ang useful nito mga to. Bakit hindi nabibigyan ng airtime? Okay? So, first up, intindihin natin, ano ba yung cycle ng deployment? First, pag magde-deploy tayo ng either Windows Vista or whatever version of Windows Client and Office, we need to go through three things. First, we need to plan. We need to plan kung, by planning, ibig sabihin, kailangan malaman natin ano yung meron tayo at saka what are we facing. Okay? Then we build. We build the image of, say, Windows Vista. We build the customized installation of Microsoft Office. Okay? Then, place it on a server somewhere, or maybe there are tools out there that, pwedeng iba yung pagka-build depending on the tool that you will use to deploy. Then, the actual deployment, the actual pushing out of either Windows Vista or Windows 7 or Microsoft Office 2007 to the client machines concerned. Now, ito yung mga tools na available for us. During the planning stage, as far as Office migration is concerned, we have this thing called the Office Migration Planning Manager. This is a free utility that scans the machines for Office 2000, for Office files, and analyzes them for compatibility with Office 2007. Tanungin ko kayo, sino na nakarinig nitong tool na to? See? Wala. Why? Kasi una, hindi tayo tumitingin sa download.microsoft.com. Or basically, bakit tayo bakit tayo titingin? Hindi naman natin alam na nag-exist. So ngayon, alam na natin. May OMPM to scan the computers for Office files. We also have the Microsoft Assessment and Planning Solutions Accelerator, or MAPSA. Sounds like Makati, ano? So, I call it MAP. So again, this is a free tool. So ano to? That scans our network, scans our Active Directory, computers in Active Directory, basically scans, makes a scan on readiness on Windows Vista, readiness for Office 2007, readiness for even security or virtualization. Tinitingnan niya yung servers nyo. Ano yung normal, yung breathing ng servers nyo, how much memory is currently being consumed, ano yung mga servers na pwede naman pagsama-samahin on a virtual server, on a physical server, multiple virtual server instances. Okay? Sige, how many of us actually downloaded the Microsoft Assessment Planning Toolkit? Right? Ako mismo frankly, hindi ko rin siya alam until I started looking around. Okay, during the building phase, anong ginagawa? We build the image, right? So, ano ngayon yung free tools available? We have the Windows Automated Installation Kit. So, ano to? We can customize Windows Vista, create Windows Vista images, even create ISO images using the Windows Automated Installation Kit. Ano mahalaga sa ISO? ISO, pwede mo i-burn sa DVD. Ano ba isang maganda sa ISO? Kung techie ka. If you have virtual PC, yun yung pinakamadaling mag-install ng OS. Diba? I-mount mo sa DVD. Right? So, using the ISO image. We also, in the building of Office, we also have the Office Customization Toolkit. Now, this tool is not free, but it is included in Microsoft Office. Okay? It is actually a tool built in Microsoft Office. So, ano to? This is a tool to customize Office depende sa settings na gusto natin prior to installation of Office. Remember, the moment we push out Office, marami na. Bali yung settings yan, mali na lahat siya. Okay, si OCT, si Office Customization Toolkit, siya yung magsaset sa atin na, okay, ito na yung settings, bago mo i-deploy, ito siya. Okay, during the deployment, again, there are still free tools available for us. We have the Microsoft Deployment Toolkit. This is used to push out Windows Vista or even Windows servers, okay, using a service in Windows Server 2008 called the Windows Deployment Service. Ito yung tipong mag-up ka ng computer, press F12, right, to do a pixie boot. Tapos, as far as MDT is concerned, meron lang konting wizard na sasagutin. Actually, pwede pa nating eliminate yung wizard to further customize. Okay? Again, this runs on top of a service called Windows Deployment Services na built-in Windows Server 2008. Eh, Jay, wala kami Windows Server 2008 eh. Paano yan? Okay pa rin. Kasi, even on Windows Server 2003, merong Windows Deployment Services na available sa Windows Automated Installation Kit. Tama, di ba? Okay? So, you can install WDS even on Windows Server 2003 because it is free on WAIK or the Windows Automated Installation Kit. Okay, ang objective ko sa inyo is isa lang itong slide na to. The rest are demos. Sige, tignan natin. First up is OMPM. Hindi ko pa pala napaplan. Ang hirap makita. Okay, OMPM. So, yung OMPM, you can download this. You can download the Office Migration Planning Manager from the download website, download.microsoft.com. And ang OMPM actually, when you install, it doesn't really necessarily install. Okay, it's just in-extract na lang yung sarili niya. So, one of the first things that you do with OMPM after you successfully installed it is to scan the machines. Now, prior to that, we need to take a look at ano yung options natin. So, ang options natin is available in offscan.ini, which is actually, okay, which is, kumbaga naka-built in na doon sa scanner, but here is where we set the options. Like, okay, so run ID, we set run ID. I will not describe the details, pero para pakita lang sa inyo that you have an option to scan my documents, you have an option not to, you have an option to scan the desktop, you have an option not to. Okay? So, and makikita rin natin dito kung, okay, meron mga folders na gusto nating iwasan. Halimbawa, program files. Okay? So, kasi pag sinabi natin program files, pati yung mga DOT na built-in doon sa Microsoft Office, di ba? Titirahin niya. Kaso alam naman natin, mga DOT, ganyan, na built-in, hindi na natin kailangan tingnan yon. In fact, kailangan lang natin tingnan yung mga files na mga gumagamit ng machine. Okay? So, here is where the actual scanning happens. So, run lang yung off-scan. Now, sinasabi dito, okay, hindi siya error. Ibig sabihin, na-scan na tong machine na to. Hindi ko napapakita sa inyo yung nagsascan mismo kasi nagsascan lang naman eh. Okay? So ano sinasabi dito? The specified run ID has already been completed on this computer, on this user. Meaning, hindi na niya uulitin ulit. What does this mean? If the script is given on a logon script, and the actual scan has already been completed, ibig sabihin, kahit mag-logon ulit yung tao, hindi na magsascan. Hindi matipid kayo sa time. Diba? Kasi hindi pa ulit-ulit nangyayari yung scan. Pag tapos na yung scan, tapos na siya. Hindi na siya uulit. So, ang resulta niya is this. Okay, the result, after a longer process, sandali lang, medyo matagal ako dahil mahirap makita dahil iba yung itsura ng screen ko. OMPM, report. Okay? It's a simple access application that meron siya mga limitations because it's Microsoft Access only. Pero yung data, my recommendation is just place it on a real SQL server. Why? Kasi yung SQL server, pag maipit kayo sa limitations sa Access, pwede nyo kalikutin yung data straight from SQL server. And merong documentation, don't worry, yung data definition niya, nasa documentation ng OMPM. Meaning, kung meron kayong taong marunong gumalaw ng database, kaya i-customize to lahat. So, makikita natin dito that it will, it has grouped it according to yellow, reds, and greens. Okay, the yellow issues you need to take a look at. The red issues, ibig sabihin, okay, if these reds are really significant for you, then stop. Or at least, tingnan, i-hold nyo muna yung red issues. Green issues, pwede kayo mag-proceed, pero it's nice to look at it. Now, here's the thing. A couple of my clients already have used this, and I noticed that there's around 10 to 13 issues na parating nag-a-appear. So what I did, dahil wala pa siyang write-up, is I wrote down a document that outlines ano yung 30 na yun at ano yung recommendations ko. If you use this on your company, if you use this on your accounts, and you get stuck, okay, nakita natin, tool error, or whatever, okay, send for review data. So ano ibig sabihin yan? Hindi ko na i-discuss sa inyo yung issues ha. Ano ibig sabihin yan? So wala tayong recommendation na nakukuha. Actually meron. Dito sa manage issues, makikita natin. Pero minsan, hindi pa rin complete. Send for review data. Yun. Okay? The file has review comments and contains a hidden baseline copy of the original. PowerPoint 2007 discards a hidden copy. Ganyan. Tapos you can click this for more detail. Basically, what I did is that I compiled the more common issues that I always encounter in my different accounts in Singapore, and I wrote down my recommendations. Okay? So, share ko sa inyo yung link na. Nasa blog ko. Nasa blog ko siya. Okay? So this is Office Migration Planning Manager. Okay? Again, Office Migration Planning Manager scans the computers for files, Office files, and checks them for compatibility in Microsoft Office. You'd be surprised at the compatibility issues. Okay? Ano para sa akin mga delikado? One, embedded documents. Embedded documents, hindi na siya supported sa Office 2007. But unfortunately for us, when Office 2007 opens a file, an older Office file that has embedded documents, bibitawan niya yung embedded document. Mawawala siya. So since mawawala siya, there's data loss concern. That's why it's a red. Okay, so the moment you see this red, ibig sabihin you have to pay attention. Jay, bakit nag-embed ng documents? Okay? Multiple reasons. One, pwede ka mag-save ng versions. Sino sa inyo gumagamit ng versioning? Sa Word 2003 pa mo ba? Versioning. Sige. Ang maganda naman is, say, for example, in this account, I have 2.5 million files. The send for review data is around 3, 4. Isipin nyo, 3 or 4 out of 2.5 million. Pero naandun, kaya nakita mo. Pero ang instances niya, 3 to 4. Diba? Not much. These red, some of these red issues are actually wala masyadong gumagamit, which is comfortable to hear. Okay. So, ano pa ang ibang red? Hindi naman red, Microsoft scripting engine is no longer supported in 2007. So, if you have macros in MSE, you have to rewrite the entire thing. Some minor things are, even if you use VBA, which is supported, I'm not a developer, so hindi ko alam kung tama yung terms na ginagamit ko. Objects, some methods are no longer supported, some lang. Kaya kailangan i-write at least those calls, those things that call these unsupported methods already. Okay? So again, sinulat ko yung some of the more common compatibility issues that I encounter in accounts in my blog. Pakita ko sa inyo mamaya blog. We also have the Microsoft Assessment and Planning Solutions Accelerator. Okay, this is also free, and this scans your network, or your Active Directory, and depending on what report you want, and how do you call this? Titingnan niya kung yung readiness for either Windows Vista or Office 2007 or what have you, or even servers. Okay, so assessment. Okay, so pwede natin sabihin, we select the database first. Sorry about this, dapat na-open ko na yung MAP beforehand. I select the database first. I will use an existing database. Okay, you can use SQL Server. What's that free one? Express edition, thanks. SQL Server Express for this. I do not recommend SQL Server Express for OMPM because OMPM scans the files, okay? And each file is one record in some tables in OMPM. And say yung numbers, as far as the numbers are concerned, in a company with 500, I did a partial scan of a company with 5,000 machines, and yung 500 pa lang nasa scan, nasa 2.5 million records na yung isang table. Okay? So, don't even attempt to use SQL Server Express sa OMPM. Sa MAPS, pwede. Okay? So, what I will now run a wizard by clicking this. And anong gusto natin tingnan? Say, for example, I will do Windows Vista and Office 2007 assessment. But take a look at kung ano pang available na reports for us. We have Windows Server 2008 readiness. We have SQL Server assessment, application virtualization assessment. If any of you have seen or have heard about application virtualization, SNMP security assessment is one other important thing, and power savings assessment. Okay? So, as you can see, hindi lang yung mga pang-upgrade, yung tinitingnan nitong Microsoft Assessment and Planning Toolkit. Again, libre to. So, why not just download, try it sa organization nyo? Okay? Siguro ang marirecommend ko lang, yung IDS, medyo babaan ng konti yung threshold. Or, mga intrusion detection systems natin, Or, warningan natin yung security team natin na magkakaroon ng scan. Okay, so, how do we now scan? We can use Active Directory, we can use Windows networking protocols, we can scan an IP address range, even blocks of IP addresses. We can have a table, a text file of computer names for us to scan. Okay? We can, just select one, a machine. So, ang gagawin ko, I will scan, the more common one is scan an IP address range. Right? Ito, walang sabi to. Okay? So, siyempre, sinabi natin what IP address range. So, okay? So, we can now type in lots of IP addresses, even single IP addresses. So, click on next. So, tinatanong sa atin dito, specify the accounts to use to remotely connect to each computer using Windows Management Instrumentation. Ibig sabihin, okay, ano yung user account na magbabasa sa WMI parameters ng machine? So, your safest here is, if you have a domain, your safest is any user that's a member of the domain admins global group. Bakit kaya? Yung domain admin global group sa domain, anong relationship niya sa workstation? Sino sa ating admin? Member siya ng what admin? Ng local administrator by default. Global group, domain admins is by default a member of the domain local group in your workstation. So that's an option. However, sometimes companies don't have Active Directory. So ano yung option? Pag ganun, we can type a user account, say, yung mga local admin password, right? Kung alam na natin yun, or kung, meron tayong listahan nun. Or minsan, some companies have more than one local admin password. So in short, pwede natin ilagay dito, halimbawa, domain name. Pwede natin ilagay yung domain, pwede natin okay? Pwede natin use on all computers or use only on specific computers. Pwede tayo maglagay ng specific admin for specific computers. Lalagay ko na lang all computers. Okay, save and new. We can add here as many administrators as we need. Okay, I'll type a same admin, different password, same. Okay, user admin. Save. Okay. So I have these three machines, three credentials. So ano mangyayari dyan in this case? So when OMPM scans, it will actually go through this list. Say for example here, computer name, all computers. Magta-try muna siya mag-connect kay administrator na una. Kung nag-fail, magta-try siya mag-connect using administrator na pangalawa. Kung mag-fail, magta-try siya mag-connect, and so on and so forth.